Everything you know about the value of silver is about to be incinerated. Right now, most people are staring at $94 silver and calling it a peak. They are dead wrong. $100 isn't a ceiling, it's a tripwire. And once the market crosses that line, likely before this weekend's, the math changes instantly. We aren't talking about a slow climb to 110. We are talking about a vertical melt up to $150 and $200 within weeks. The biggest players in the world already know this. The US Mint just tipped their hand, and what they're doing behind the scenes proves they expect the dollar to die. If you're waiting for a dip to buy, you are missing the fact that the exit doors to the current financial system are already starting to jam shut. We are currently witnessing a quiet panic. Gold is sitting at 4,700, an absolute historic anomaly, and silver is a breath away from triple digits. But look past the price. Look at the plumbing. The largest bullion dealers in America have effectively fired the small investor. They've locked the doors to anyone with less than $500. Why? Because the volume of uneducated money flooding in is so massive, they don't have the manpower to pack your single ounce. This is the definition of a frenzy. When the masses, people who don't know a buffalo round from a soup cracker, start storming coin shops, the supply chain doesn't just stretch, it snaps. But there's a darker side to this demand that nobody is talking about. While the front door is crowded with buyers, the back door, the refiners, has been bolted shut. Here's the detail that should keep you up at night. The major refiners, the people who actually turned scrap and junk silver back into investment-grade bars, are starting to refuse orders. They are literally turning away 90% constitutional silver in sterling. If it isn't 999 pure, they don't want it. Even worse, for the stuff they will take, the wait time for a payout has ballooned from 48 hours to 3 months. Think about that. If you were a local coin shop and your capital is tied up for 90 days just to get paid by a refiner, you stop buying from the public. This creates a liquidity trap. We are entering a phase where spot price becomes irrelevant because physical metal is becoming impossible to move through the system. It's not just the refiners. The government is now actively cannibalizing the trade. In Washington state, they just slapped a 10% tax on bullion. Think about the desperation of that move. They are so terrified of the flight from the dollar that they retaxing the exit at double digits. We're seeing tax refugees driving 4, 5, 6 hours across state lines just to buy $10,000 in metal without handing a grand to the IRS. People are spending $200 in gas just to secure an extra 10 ounces of silver. That isn't investing. That's a survival instinct kicking in. And if you think the US government is being fair with their own pricing, you haven't looked at the Mint's latest re-rating. This is the smoking gun. The US Mint just repriced their proof silver eagles. They didn't move them to $110 or $120. They moved them to $133 an ounce. Let that sink in. The government's own mint, staffed by the highest paid MBAs and analysts in the world, is charging nearly double the current spot price. They aren't doing that for fun. They are doing it because they refuse to chase the price. They are pricing their inventory for where silver is going to be in 6 months. They are telling you, without saying a word, that $100 silver is the old world. $170 is the new floor. So, why $100? Because $100 is the ultimate psychological barrier. It's the number that makes the normies wake up. It's the headline that forces every hedge fund to reevaluate their shorts. Right now, an aircraft carrier group is steaming toward Iran. The geopolitical tension is a powder keg. One headline, one spark in the Middle East, and that 6 gap between here and $100 vanishes in an hour. And once $100 breaks, the FOMO, fear of missing out, will be unlike anything we've seen in our lifetimes. We're seeing gold pocket watches that used to be family heirlooms being melted down for $13,000. We're seeing silver dimes that were $1 a decade ago now selling for nearly $7. The math is moving too fast for the human brain to normalize. Most people don't understand how fast a re-rating happens. They think they'll have time to react. But look at the math. Just 3 weeks ago, we were celebrating silver hitting $70. Since then, it has tacked on another $25. That's a 35% move in 20 days. At this velocity, $100 isn't a destination, it's a speed bump. When you see a coin shop showcase that S half empty despite buying 6 figures of metal the day before, you're looking at a drain. One buyer walked into this shop yesterday and wiped out every single Morgan and Peace dollar in the building. He didn't care about the history, he cared about the weight. This is the vacuum phase. The big money is finally realizing that digits on a screen are an illusion, and they are sweeping the shelves clean. Here is the harsh truth that most YouTube analysts are too afraid to tell you. When silver hits 150, your paper silver, ETFs, might be worth a fortune on paper, but you might not be able to trade it for a loaf of bread. We are seeing a divergence where the physical price is detaching from the spot price. Look at the premiums. For the first time, silver is starting to trade like gold. The premiums are thinning out not because silver is cheap, but because the base price is so high that the percentage of extra cost is shrinking. When a Buffalo round hits $97 and the spot price is $94, that's a 3% premium. That is a signal of a mature, desperate market. The cheap silver era is dead and buried. While the world is obsessed with silver's $100 barrier, gold is quietly preparing for a move to $5,000. We are currently at $4,700. In this environment, a $300 move in gold is a Tuesday afternoon. Why does this matter to you? Because the gold to silver ratio is about to snap back with a vengeance. If gold hits $5,000 and the ratio returns to historical norms, silver doesn't stop at $100. It doesn't stop at $150. It teleports to $200. This is the analytical overload. The banks are trying to hide from you by suppressing the paper markets, but you can't suppress a physical shortage. You can't print a silver dime. Revised outro, high emotion CTA, 7:45, the final push. We are living through the exact moment the history books will point to as the point of no return. Most people will spend the next few months in a state of shock, watching their purchasing power vanish while they wait for a permission slip from the mainstream media to protect themselves. By then, the shelves at shops like this one will be empty. The fact that you are here, watching this, means you are already ahead of 99% of the population. But the window for this information, and for physical metal, is closing faster than any of us anticipated. If you found value in this breakdown, there's one thing you need to do right now. Hit the subscribe button. I don't ask that for the numbers. I ask it because the velocity of this collapse requires you to stay connected to the truth in real time. When that $100 tripwire snaps, the narrative is going to shift into a full-blown panic, and you cannot afford to be tuned out. Join this community, get the updates before the headlines hit, and let's navigate this reset together. I'm John Asian Guy here. Stay sharp, stay physical. I'll see you in the next one.